I found this little clip and wanted to put it up on YouTube, part of the From the Vault playlist. It sure takes me back when I look at these images, so I might as well set it up. We were in Mongolia to do a Survivorman episode. And it was a bizarre time to begin with. I think it was a national holiday, so every single vehicle was rented. It was weird times. And we picked up this Land Cruiser, and right away it's like the steering wheel, something's wrong with the steering wheel, right? So we land from North America in Mongolia, so you can imagine how tired we were. We eventually get this Jeep and get everything, this Land Cruiser or whatever, and get everything organized. And then we start driving. Now, it ends up being a 10-hour drive at the point when all the action happened. We still don't know to this day, and we'll never know what actually happened. Did the driver fall asleep? I don't think so. He was a good guy. Maybe he did, though. We were all exhausted. I don't think I was snoozing, sort of, kind of in the back, but when you're driving like this all the time. No, I think something happened to the wheels, and I think they literally just snapped. Because when we were driving about 50 miles an hour, straight grasslands, but in some ruts, right? So then we went at 50 miles an hour sideways, just like that, and then we skidded sideways, and then we just sort of like it like that, and then it rolled, and it rolled over. The whole Land Cruiser rolled over twice, with 4 of us in there. Oh, okay, little interjection here. I should also add in no seatbelts. The seatbelts were actually sewn into the upholstery, so no seatbelts for anybody in the vehicle. There's a lot of weirdness to that moment, actually. What they say is true. Time stands still. Everything moves in slow motion. The weirdest things happened to me in the middle of that roll. Another interjection here. Now, when we were rolling over, there was at one point where we're upside down, and I could see, and in fact, the person beside me said the same thing. We both watched the metal of the roof crunch down in front of our eyes. So we're upside down watching the metal of the roof crunch in front of our eyes, like that. And then come up again, and now we're going to go over one more time. When the first hit happened, it was just this big bam, and then, and then we're going over again, and this is when the slow motion happened. And it was like there was just this very clear voice, matter-of-fact voice inside my head. And it just said, if you don't move, you'll break your neck on the next hit. And so I moved. And what I did was I threw my left arm out to sort of stop the person that was sitting beside me. And I kind of went like this. And then we hit again. And what that meant, what happened was I hit right here on the on the seat armrest, I guess. Bang! And this person right on top of me at the same time. So all their weight on me, on my ribs, on the armrest. When we landed, it was like, bam! So we landed on our tires, which is incredible because there are 1,000 other ways that could have gone. But we landed on our tires. And I remember looking at people, and I said to the driver, you okay? And he's like, yeah, there's a little bit of broken glass. And the passenger up front, you okay? And she's like, yeah. Passenger beside me, are you okay? Actually, come to think of it, I asked her first, you okay? And I went, oh. And then they all stopped, and they all looked at me. And I could see it in their face. They just went, are you okay? And I went, I'm not okay. And I went over, and I just fell over on my left side. I didn't faint outright, but I almost fainted, I guess. I just went over kind of in pain. And I'll tell you what, that's where we'll pick it up from right here. I'll come right back at the end of this and tell you what happened.
You're gonna get lightheaded here.
Ah!
You're right.
Okay. Well, Max, that's the end of this shoot.
I hate filming you like this, you know?
Just film.
I'm only doing it because you asked.
I know you. You're a good man. Ah. I never seen anything like that before in my life. So all I saw was the glass coming at my face, and I thought, my shoulder or my head? It was when we first hit, because it was a hard hit. Bam. And then we just kept rolling, kept going. I thought it was going to stop right there, but it didn't stop. I hope I don't have a broken rib. It's hard to breathe. It's true what they say. It all happens in slow motion. In the process, I'm like, nobody get hurt, nobody get hurt, nobody get hurt, nobody get hurt. Like that. That's all I can think of. Nobody get hurt. Let's roll and come up. And that's it. We're done. It's just a bad roll. And just as I was thinking that, that's when I hit. I heard something crack in my ribs when he pushed in. It was like a click. It just could have been out of place too. Clavicle's good. Rib did. Could be just bruised. "15 years of doing this. All the crazy roads we've been on, insane pilots, boating, and we're on a flat field, and we roll. Wow. I mean, I'm glad it was me and nobody else. The downside being that since it's me, the chute shuts down." Yeah, so that was intense. I don't know if you missed, if you looked away and you didn't see the lower third there, but what ended up happening was, in fact, I had 2 dislocated shoulders, a mild concussion, 3 broken ribs, and a punctured lung. And if you noticed during that shot, there was somebody standing up. You could see them standing up on one of the vehicles. That's because they had a very weak phone signal, and they were trying to phone in the helicopters. The helicopter said, "We can't come out. You're too far away." And we spent hours like that, trying to get help. When the Russian paramedics showed up, now from here, I could talk for the next 2 hours or longer because the story gets insane. Basically, you're in the middle of the grasslands in Mongolia, busted up with nobody there to help you. It was a little insane. But eventually this paramedic, old beat up Russian Jeep shows up. And at one point this young paramedic girl's like coming towards me kind of back and forth with a syringe in her hand, like saying something in Mongolian language and I just like, I might have used a couple of expletives there. I'm not sure, but I found a way to express to her that she was not going to do that to me. Little interjection here again. I have to point out that we actually had a doctor with us in the crew that was headed out in the grasslands, and thank goodness, when this paramedic came towards me with the syringe ready, I guess it was morphine or something, but what they had were these glass vials of morphine with Russian writing on it. Russia had not been in control of this country for many years. This was old, outdated painkiller of some kind, probably morphine, in glass vials that you break off the top, and then you suck out the morphine with a filter needle. The needle wasn't even a filter needle. So every nurse and doctor knows what I'm talking about right now. So here's a paramedic coming towards me with their vial, their old outdated glass Russian medication of sorts, painkiller, whatever, that they'd taken the liquid medication out of without a filter needle. Yeah. So it's like, don't even think about it. In fact, at one point, I mean, here I am, I'm all busted up. I'm not sure if I even mentioned the fact that I also had a bunch of torn chest muscles, and I'm about to lay out the dude paramedic. I'm just like, I'm going to take him out. It's one thing that those people who know me know, that if I'm hurt, but not completely incapacitated, I get angry, really, really angry. If I'm really badly hurt, I don't say a thing. I don't even move. And so people who know me well know that he's being quiet. He's really hurt. He's just swearing a lot, and he just punched that tree. He's okay. He'll be fine. Anyway, that paramedic, I just get them out here. Tell them to get lost. And it gets crazier from there. For example, the people who'd arranged everything for us and had rented the Land Cruisers, they were not allowed to leave the scene of the accident to get me to a hospital, and they were really our only interpreters, because that's illegal in that country, and they would be thrown in jail immediately. Oh, it goes on from there. But here, I'll keep telling the story. We started to drive out. It was a 10-hour drive out. And during that, that's my dog, who's, come here. You're making too much noise with that collar. Let's get that off. There we go. We took, upwards of 10 hours to drive. On the way out, we stopped at a hospital in a tiny little place. So there was someone sleeping on the couch in the foyer, and they had to come to open up the door and say, well, nobody's here. So then someone came in who kind of sort of knew how to kind of sort of fire up this X-ray machine from World War II, which took some pictures of me that were half in focus, half out of focus, half overexposed, half underexposed. We were holding those up and taking cell phone photographs and sending them off to friends in North America saying, what do you think about, Les's ribs and lungs? Oh my God, it just went on. No idea this whole time that I had a pneumothorax. And I'm starting to think of the story. Here, listen up. I got to tell you this part of the story. So all this crazy stuff's going on, and we're in this little town, and it's like, how can we? And then the cars are breaking down. We're down to like one vehicle, and it's breaking down. And they hire some guy who shows up in a tiny little beat-up car with a dead goat in the trunk to drive us to Ulaanbaatar. And they don't have speed limits there at all. And they drive in. They get vehicles from all over the world, so their steering wheels are on both sides, either this side or on the other side. But you're supposed to drive on the right-hand side of the road, but your steering wheel might be on the right-hand side of the car. So you know how if you got to go to the left and pass somebody and then come back in again? Well, if you're on the left side of the car, like in North America, you can peek your head out. Oh, it's safe, and go. No, this guy was way over here on the right side, and he's trying to drive and look. It was insane. And on top of all of it, he's doing, no word of a lie, he never dropped below 95 miles an hour. It was insanity. Before that even happened, on the way out, on the 10-hour drive out in the grasslands, the road was so bumpy that both my shoulders reset while we were driving. Yeah. The only painkillers we could find was my buddy Ian Auger had one or two Tylenol 3s left from something he had. So I had those. And a bottle of Bordeaux, which became all mine, believe me. And we were driving out, and the drivers were falling asleep. They'd been driving for 15, 16 hours, exhausted. In fact, at one point, I had one of those little energy drinks, and I had this much left, and I gave it to the driver just to pick him up. He was like, come on, stay away. It was so scary and so bizarre. All right, so in the end, we now, here's the story I want to tell you. We're in Ulaanbaatar, capital of Mongolia. I think it's capital. In the airport. And I'm like this, right? I'm fine at this point. We're 60 hours. It was 60 hours. No, 60 hours before I landed in Canada. But at that point, it had been, like, I don't know how many hours, how many days it had been, like 2 solid days or something. And so I'm kind of, just holding my arm and stuff. And we're standing there waiting to get, go into the lounge. And this tall guy walks by, really tall. Like some beefy looking guys. I think that was Steven Seagal. We go into the lounge. It's Steven Seagal. We're now hanging out, sitting beside Steven Seagal in Mongolia in the business class lounge, and I'm all busted up, and Steven Seagal is giving me medical advice. You know, Les, it's possible you might have a pneumothorax, and you don't want to get on an airplane if you got a pneumothorax. And I'm just like, I'm getting advice from Steven Seagal. And I'm posing for pictures, and his bodyguards were fans of Survivorman, so we're getting pictures taken and all that. And it's the coolest thing ever. And darn it, if he wasn't right, I did have a pneumothorax, but didn't know it. So I got on the airplane. Now, every nurse and doctor went, yeah, I got on the airplane with a pneumothorax. And luckily, I think I said, hey, when we land in Shanghai, if it's been bad, we'll get out there. There'll be good medical attention there. By the way, everybody we ran into, including some nurses and a doctor, said, don't go see anybody in Mongolia. Don't do it. Fly home. Of course, we didn't know how to pneumothorax. If it gets bad and we land in, not Shanghai, Beijing, then I'll get out. I land, I'm like, I think I'm okay, guys. Off we go to Toronto. We land in Toronto, and we go to Toronto Eastern General, I think it's called. Basically looked for the place that had the most gunshot wounds, because they will be the people who know how to deal with this best. So we went there, and even there, I'm sitting in the waiting room, and the nurse is taking this and that and everything, and she's checking my breathing, and it's like, hang on, River, come on, you're interrupting the chat here, the story. Lie down. Lie down. Okay. Hang on. Come on. Hip. She is not conducive to trying to tell you a good story. Listening to the dog sniff all over the place. Where was I? In Toronto, waiting in the waiting area, and she's checking my lungs, and she keeps coming back to this one spot. It's pretty casual up till then. I mean, we had to wait and everything. And sure enough, a stab wound came in and a gunshot wound came in. Someone was dead on the table as they came in. And then all of a sudden, I see her getting really busy and just running, kind of, you have a pneumothorax. And it's like, well, I've had it for a few days. And go in, and in goes the tube and all the rest of, I could say the rest is history, but there is so much more to that story. It was insanity. A little ending note, though, is really kind of strange. My neck, I'm prone to get the odd headaches. But once a month, I'll get a headache. I'm like, oh, man, take some Tylenol or ibuprofen or something. And I now had the craziest clunk, 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 in my neck whenever I'm, from the accident, obviously. Clunk, 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 clunk. And that lasted for about a year. In that entire year, I didn't get one single headache. Strange, eh? You're in a rollover accident. You get this weird clunking in your neck, and I'm sure any chiropractor or massage therapist or whomever could tell you what's going on there, but I didn't know what's going on. Either way, I had the clunking and no headaches. Kind of strange. And one more little addendum to the Steven Seagal story. So strange. I'm in Las Vegas. And I'm telling this story a little longer than what I've just told you, but I'm telling this story, and I get to the Steven Seagal part, and then I tell my Steven Seagal part, and I finish that, and I hear to the side, hey, Les. I look down, and Steven Seagal was standing beside the stage the whole time listening to me tell this story about him, and I didn't know he was there. Maybe we're related in our ancestry, along with the Dalai Lama or one of those. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So there you go. That's the fuller story to the Mongolia crash. Now, a year later, by the way, I was told that I wouldn't be able to do anything for 5 months. Within 3 weeks, I started doing what we call kitchen counter push-ups. It hurt. It burned. But in no time, I was doing full push-ups again with 3 broken ribs. And 1 year later, almost to the day, we went back to Mongolia. And that is when, this time, my son Logan came along with me, and we filmed Survivorman and Son, Mongolia. The last network episode of Survivorman that I ever produced. I've done some since then, the 24 hours versions and some things like that, but this was the last official Survivorman episode ever produced for the network. So let me close this off by saying that I am very soon launching all 4 Survivorman sons on this YouTube channel, along with a whole host of other Survivorman episodes that I have not yet put up on the channel. So this is the place to be. Check them out. Watch for the premieres. Yeah, this is the story that that took place a year before we filmed the Survivorman and Son Mongolia episode. By the way, a lot of you have always been asking for more director's commentaries, and you're going to get more in 2021. In fact, what I think I might do, I think I might just walk through the whole catalog. I hope that doesn't bore you, but I might walk through the whole catalog, tell you the behind-the-scenes stories, personally, for each and every Survivorman Bigfoot, Survivorman episode, Beyond Survival, Survivorman and Son. And the thing is, I am going to look into the right way to do that live so that we do them together. And of course, it'll stay up online after that, but we can do them. The initial version will be live for each and every one of them. Plus, I'm going to be doing a lot of live concerts as well, so there you go. All right. So, you can do me a big favor right now, though. Subscribe. Please subscribe. In fact, while I'm making this, I'm at 299,000 subscribers. Let's make it 300,000, shall we? That would help a lot. And when you do subscribe, and it doesn't cost you anything, know that you are, at the very least, encouraging me to continue to make as much content as I can for you. Got a lot of renewed energy to do so, so let's have some fun together.